Good afternoon, beautiful people. Dr. Eve back in the studio. Hello and welcome, everyone. If you're new here, I am Dr. Eve, your host of Touch One Life, Touch Millions. And today we are talking about land. Land as a valuable asset to your agribusiness. Y'all, we have got 99 problems. Which one are you going to solve? I'm truly excited to be in a time where I know that I can utilize all that God has created me to be to solve a problem. And for me, that is how do we help others to develop sustainable lifestyles, right? Even amidst all of the things that are happening in the world. I am excited again to be back with you, and we are talking about land as an asset to the agribusiness. If you are in the chat, please let me know where you are chiming in from, and make sure that you share your questions. If you have questions, I will try to answer them as it relates to our topic today and or anything relating to my journey as it relates to food development farming agribusiness, all the things that I am doing here at La Geneve to make a difference and to solve a problem. So onward, we're talking today. I've learned that land is fixed in one place. It can't be moved, right? We know that it cannot be moved. So, again, hey everyone, welcome to the live stream. Today, I want to share my personal take on why land is such a valuable asset, especially when it comes to agriculture, and talk a little bit about some real life concerns, successes, gaps, and recommendations I've learned along the way. There are three key attributes of land that I've learned about. First off, immobility. I've learned that land is fixed in one place. It can't be moved, right? This means its value and use depend heavily on where it's located. Have you ever heard someone say location, location, location? It is the most important thing. Factors like climate, how accessible it is, and its proximity to other resources or urban centers all play a major role in determining what you can do with that piece of land. The next term is indestructibility. Even though the structures we build on land can be destroyed, the land itself endures. For me, this is really important because it means that no matter what happens to the buildings or improvements, the land remains a long term asset with intrinsic value. I can say this to be so, even as my husband is the owner of property where he actually grew up, and that building is no longer there, but the infrastructure under the ground and the land is still there and extremely important to our next steps. Number three, every parcel of land is absolutely unique. I've seen firsthand that even if two pieces of land look similar at a glance, differences in the location, the topography, soil composition, and the surrounding environment make each one distinct. This uniqueness is something I consider a strategic advantage for both personal use and my agricultural planning. Understanding these attributes isn't just academic, it directly impacts my approach to farming and land investment. Since the land can't be moved, I had to think strategically about its location, even in future investments. The local climate, soil, fertility, and access to those markets or water sources are all factors that determine what I can grow and how successful my farming operations will be. Plus, I've always need to keep zoning laws and community restrictions in mind when planning my projects. They are your friends. Make contact with your zoning, your planning and zoning offices where you are and where you plan to buy. Although land itself remains, I am aware that its quality can decline if I don't manage it well, right? So if you own it, you need to manage it. That's why I focus on sustainable practices like soil conservation and regenerative farming to ensure that my land stays productive and valuable for years to come. This long term view helps me build stability in both wealth and food security. Every piece of land I work with has its own characteristics, unique soil composition, drainage patterns, and even microclimates. No one is the same, which makes what I do here and what I do across town very different. For me, this means tailoring my farming practices to fit the specific conditions of the land rather than relying on a one size fits all approach. It's about leveraging what makes each parcel special to maximize productivity and profitability. And in this time and day, we can see that productivity, and profitability has the edge, right? We are now able to even rent our hens, right? Because of where we are in the world, right? But it's a problem that we can solve, right? Like I said, there's 99 problems. Which one can you solve, right? Now, let me dive into some of the practical aspects of purchasing agricultural land from my own experience. Here are some of the challenges and risk. Agricultural land can also be pretty expensive. I know many of us struggle with securing the right financing because of high upfront costs and fluctuating land values. Also, not every piece of land is ideal for farming. I've had to deal with issues like soil depletion or poor drainage that can really limit what you can achieve, right? And it just depends on the land. Local laws sometimes restrict the kind of agricultural activities that can take place on a property, which we know if you check with your zoning area, they I'm only allowed to have 4 hens. I think it's up to 4 to 6 though. Right? Which is something I always have to verify before making any types of purchase. If you are interested in any type of agribusiness, make sure you're checking in with all of the zoning and regulation um, legislation. Water rights and access is another concern, especially in drought-prone areas. Water is a huge concern. Securing the right irrigation rights and ensuring there's enough water can be challenging. You have to build in forestation for forest floors almost in order to address some of the drought prone conditions on some of these farming agricultural land opportunities. Another thing is infrastructure and accessibility, which is why I tell individuals be careful about buying raw land, because you need electricity, you know, uh, that you need infrastructure, you need certain things to work the land. So the availability of roads, electricity, and nearby markets can make or break the efficiency and profitability of a farm. Also, your environment and climate risk. I'm also mindful of the risk posed by natural disasters, climate change, and extreme weather conditions. We just had extreme weather I have never seen before in this area. Iced over, I'm still dealing with the meltdown of ice after a week of an ice storm. Heavy ice conditions, it gave me water, but there it was extreme and it can damage, if you are not prepared to address your winter vegetation, then the extreme weather can impact and it's an event that can impact your farming. Ensuring clear titles and legal ownership is critical to avoid any legal battles down the line. So you want to be checking in with your deed, your register of deeds, and your titles to make sure that you have a clear go at purchasing this land. Some of the best practices and wins that I can think of by investing in regenerative agricultural, permaculture, and soil conservation, I've seen long-term productivity gains. So that's been very helpful. So these are things you want to think outside of the box. What's on the land? What's a part of the land? The trees, the air above it, what's below it? Remember that land is everything under the soil and above it, right? So the tree and the trees and things that grow on it. So you want to be thinking about those as pluses when you are looking at your land. I've benefited from conservation incentives and also the opportunities of cooperative extension offices and free services where I could get soil checks and things of that nature. Many of us have these offices within our communities. Make sure you use them to help ease some of the burdens that you may feel around supports in your community as you are approaching, agriculture, agribusiness. Working together with other farmers in cooperatives has increased my buying power and reduced my operational costs because I can add to the pack, right? I can add to my special thing to their special things, and we have amazing buying power, right? Also, diversification strategies. I've diversified my income streams, not just through traditional farming, but also through agritourism, right? That is a big thing for me because I'm into real estate investment. So creating agri-stay, creating, an experience where we know that many people are talking about, I want to be off the grid. I want a place where I don't have to worry about internet. I just want to have a place where I can revive myself, right? A place that's free and where I can actually pick my own vegetables to cook, right? So isn't that amazing, right? To think of an agri-stay, that's what agritourism is all about, the experience, right? And with even livestock, fresh eggs, with the fact that I actually have hens that lay every day, specialty crops, uh, dark green, leafy, healthy vegetables that are organic, right? And renewable energy, like solar. Being able to, just in case, you have renewable energy as a possibility, like you do on solar farms, right? Using smart irrigation and soil monitoring. As I've shared with you, I monitor my soil and areas of my soil through my extension office, right? GPS based planting and has been a game changer for efficiency and yield as well. What are some of the gaps that I I need you to be thinking about? Financing for new farmers. I've seen many first time buyers, especially young farmers, struggle with getting loans because of strict credit requirements, right? But there is a way that maketh right. Here in our enterprise, we share with others how you approach that. How do you even approach buying a home? What are the things you should be thinking about as you are preparing to, if you want to buy land? I think many miss it. Many have also missed the opportunity of buying the ugly house on the block or ugly house in that neighborhood, assuring that first of all it's got trees, it's got all the things that I need, and I can always remove that house, like I was sharing with you earlier about the land as an asset. Even removing the house where my husband used to live, where my husband grew up, the house is gone, but the land is still there and viable, right? Thinking about how you can approach buying with creative financing is another option, that you could work directly with the landowner, versus uh, dealing with credit. Or in fact, you can face the issues of the restrictions on credit head on, with someone who's actually done that work. I took a year and I really dived into what it costs to be me, and how can I establish myself that yes will be the answer versus no. I didn't like being told no. And so I positioned not just myself, my personal finances, but my business finances, and also, developing in a way that I can be my own bank, right? So those are very important things that steps you can take when it comes to financing as a new farmer. Education and support. There's a real gap in education and resources available for effective land management, but the first thing you should be doing is subscribing and liking this channel, because I am sharing tours, I am sharing what I'm doing with the land, I'm sharing my processes so that you can have a place where you have access, education, and support. The gap in education and resources available for effective land management, including soil health and conservation, we address those things, right? So you have the support of individuals who are on the YouTube, who are here in this space to give you the education, access to education and support that you need. So like and subscribe to my channel for future updates. You also know that it's clear that we have communities that still lack, right? Still face barriers, right, in acquiring and maintaining agricultural land for one reason or another, one disparity or another. And there have been many changes that are being made even in 2025. In 60 days, so many things have changed, and it will create and widen that gap. But we're here to develop anyway. We're here to develop sustainable living no matter the cost, right? What are some other things like water, like climate change? Climate change is a gap that's worsening our water shortages. We know that because when while the climate is changing, it's causing hotter days, right? How do you deal with those hotter days? I believe there's a need for more robust and equitable water management policies. Now, one of the things that I do is create space for water, whether that's, you can create ponds, you can create if you have swimming pools, if swimming pools have water, be creative in how you create ways to address these worsening water shortages. And you want to make sure to follow me, because I talk a lot about the technique of back to Eden, right? And that is creating, a place where plants naturally grow without worrying about water, right? Um, Creating an environment where it can grow, and that the soil can maintain its moisture is critical. Many of us sometimes buy land without fully grasping zoning laws, tax implications, and legal restrictions. Something I've also learned the hard way. And so, but we work through those issues. And if you stay long enough, we're going to be talking about some of these issues that will better help you to manage and close the gap as it relates to in those financial areas. What are some recommendations that I would recommend for you at this time? One, always perform soil testing. Soil test, soil test, soil test. As I've already mentioned, check your zoning laws, right? Check your zoning laws before you do anything. What is that property zoned for, right? Know what you can and cannot do, right? Before the purchase. Review water rights. Do you have a right to the I believe that we all should have right to free water since God created it and made it free. So review your water rights and be strategic about your water, okay? And ensure there's clear legal ownership before purchasing your title, your deeds, all the things. Make sure there's no liens on that property, on that land whatsoever. Another recommendation is consider USDA loans. Now, when considering USDA loans, I need you to remember that you will not be eligible the first year, probably not the second year. There is a process of not making this a hobby, right? What can you sell, right? Like this year, I'm getting ready to have my first pop up. I am literally selling seedlings. I said I didn't want to just be a farm, but I want to be a nursery. I want to sell what I produce, right? So I have beautiful vegetables that are growing right now so that my when I do my March pop-up, I will have seedlings for those who don't know how to grow, can't grow, that they'll have seedlings that even they can grow in bags. I've got collards, I have kale, I have broccoli, I have cabbage, I have kohlrabi, I have um, turnips, I'm growing flowers. I'm doing all the things because that was indeed my desire. But even your farm grants, you have to prove yourself. So you make sure that as you are developing yourself as a farm, whether you are someone who is making products, making um, beauty products and those things out of, herbs and things like that. That's still considered farming. So make sure that you are filing your Schedule F for the things that you are purchasing so that you can show yourself approved that you are actually farming, right? Or even cooperative ownership models to make financing a lot easier. That means working together, creating a cooperative economics, right? Working as a market. So that's one of the things that we do at NCBWR is have, these cooperative markets where we come together and we sell as a market. So if you're interested in being a part of our cooperative market, then please do make sure that you connect with me. Make sure you subscribe. I'll leave the link to uh, our hub news so that you can subscribe to that and receive updates on what we're going to be doing next, where we will be, and all those deeds. Okay. I highly recommend attending workshops and connecting with extension services, as I've mentioned before, to learn about sustainable and regenerative farming. One of the things that I found very helpful through my extension office is canning. I didn't learn to can from my grandmother. They didn't do those things. And so I wanted to learn how to can. I wanted to learn how to preserve the food that I am growing. So I attend workshops at my local extension services and in the community for those on the farms, where they may be having classes as well to learn about sustainable and regenerative farming. So make sure you are clocking in on what's available. Put these things on your calendar so that you can be educated about what's happening in your neighborhood. Because remember, where you live is very, very important as well because I'm in zone 8. What happens in zone 8 is looks a little different than zone 9, zones 1, 2, 3, 4, and all those zones because they have different weather patterns and all of those things that must be considered. Number four, advocate for policy changes. You want to support initiatives that promote equitable land access, water conservation policies, and sustainable agricultural funding, right? You want to connect with the policy that aligns with the work that you're doing. As for agribusiness, it would be, promoting. It would be initiatives around water, food, energy, shelter, all the things for sustainable living and sustainable agricultural funding. You want to also diversify revenue streams. I've talked about that. I am now growing um, sprouts. I'm trying to master that so that I can sell to the restaurants. I live in a area where I have access to restaurants galore, right? So I'm an urban farmer, right? And it's exciting because you build the relationships with the local restaurants. I have Asian, I have Mexican, I have normal continental, I have seafood, I have all kinds of restaurants around me. So that's exciting because that can be a revenue stream, but you have to master. So I'm learning to master the model of growing sprouts, right? So that I can sell them to and take them to market, right? Agritourism, which is how developing a place, a stay, an agri-stay, a place where people also can come and pick their own vegetables or pick their own flowers because I'm growing flowers and bouquets and things like that. So you want to diversify your income while you're doing that, because the whole purpose of farming and preparing yourself to be ready for USDA loans is you have to, what can you sell? Are you making beauty products? I am making products from, for my hair, for my skin, for lotions and things like salves and balms, things that you can go from farm to shelf, to the beauty shelf, right? Farm to table models, right? What can you breads? Can you make breads? Things like, there's so many valuable ways that you can value add to your production. And by value added production can open up new income opportunities for you as well. So be thinking about that. Eggs, people are now renting hens, and so I can sell my eggs, because I don't I there's only four of them right now, but I don't eat a lot of eggs. So, having my pop-up market right here in my community gives others an opportunity to have access, right? Network with local communities. I can't say that enough. Join your local cooperatives or homesteading groups so you can share your resources and local insights. Has been invaluable to me. So, I have a wonderful book that my daughter gifted me. I don't know if I can share that with you on screen or not, but it's Farming While Black, Soul Fire Farms Practical Guide. I'll put the link to that. That's very helpful to me, by Lee Penniman. That is a really good guide. I love when they give me things that were well thought out. They realized, wow, that's a passion of mom's. Let me get her this book, so she can, learn about intensive gardening and all the things that goes along with forging your land for not for generations to come, not for just now, but for your children and your children's children. We as educators and social workers and human service leaders, those of us who, this is an opportunity for us to teach people what we know. So again, I say to you, there were 99 problems. Which one can you solve? And the fact that we have access right here as managed care professionals, we have access to do social work without walls, just by positioning ourselves here in these audiences where people are mobile ready. They're in front of their phones. We can teach them. Give them access, education, and support on this journey to sustainable living. My final thoughts. For me, purchasing agricultural land isn't just about making a transaction, and it never has been. It's a significant investment that requires careful planning, continuous learning, and a commitment to long term sustainability. By addressing these challenges, learning from the successes and the gaps and the experiences that I've gone through, and following these strategic recommendations, I believe we can all make better, more informed decisions that lead to profitable and resilient agricultural ventures. I am excited to be on this journey with you. Thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to discussing more about land and farming with you all during this live, during additional live sessions. It's been exciting to be with you all. Again, I am Dr. Eve, your community health and human service educator, and I'm on a journey for sustainable well being. And I hope that you are. Hello, Raquel. Welcome, welcome. I see you. We are problem solvers. And yes, your own space to unplug and recharge from the world. That is so true. Thank you for joining me all the way from Nebraska. And yes, consumers are fist fighting over the eggs. They are. And so we can sell the we have many ways when we start something, we have many ways that we can help our people to develop sustainable lives, right? By teaching what we've already learned. And I'm so excited to be in community with so many beautiful people who are getting it right. And we're all being extremely intentional about what it is that we know and that we are able to teach our people through social work without walls, right? Because we all have a responsibility for caring for what God loves, right? Thank you again for joining me. If you have questions, please feel free, even in the aftermath. If you have questions, the live chat will be available to you. You can add more questions and comments. What would you like to learn more about on this journey? Land, again, is a valuable asset to agribusiness, and I am excited to help you and take you on the journey. And you are listening to Dr. Eve, and I am the host of Touch One Life, Touch Millions, where we are on a journey to sustainable living, everyone. Sustainable living. There's 99 problems. Pick the one that you can solve. Peace and blessings. And until next time, go and have the most amazing day. And whatever you do, let no one get in the way on your journey to becoming who God has called you to become. Until next time, I'll see you on the next video.